Getting back to this whole calamity howler thing, though, there is a value in getting decision makers adequately, not excessively, but adequately scared. They need to be a little scared. They need to not be so confident that nothing's going to happen to their business, to their organization. And if it takes a little bit of an extreme sometimes to wake them up, maybe.
So forgive me for attempting to delve into the minds of the business leaders out there, the 70 some odd, percent of the business leaders out there that don't believe that cybersecurity is worth their time, money, and that it's worth their time to invest in or their money to invest in. However, I think you don't give them enough credit. I think that there is a business calculation that is done that they believe, hey, I've looked into it. I don't see it. It's just not there. I'm making a lot of money, or I'm providing a product, I'm providing a service. And by focusing on cybersecurity or increasing my focus on cybersecurity, that's going to hurt my business. Period. End of story.
Right.
I think that there's,
it's funny.
I think that there, go ahead.
Yeah. When we teach, risk analysis and risk calculations, particularly quantitative risk analysis, I cover it in the CISSP boot camp. It just as an example, but it's not the only place, but we do risk calculations. And what you're describing is a risk calculation where they're looking at their exposure factor as being way less than what it actually is, and the cost of security controls as being way more. And I think that's where some of the miscalculation in the lack of awareness that's out there. We talked about this a few minutes ago. The idea that everybody has to do everything is like, okay, you need to take the entire NIST 800 series and apply it to your system, in great detail. Well, we've seen how some organizations have tried to apply NIST, and they've created a monstrosity of bureaucracy while entirely missing the whole point of a risk framework. Completely missing the point. They just turned it into more rules and more things, and everyone looks at that and says, oh my goodness, this is going to put us out of business. And in the private sector, someone definitely looks at it. I just saw a recent report where business leaders were asked whether or not they agreed that they need to apply the cybersecurity framework to their organizations. And what came out of that survey was very simply this. The business leaders all agreed that it was a best practice and something that is aspirational. But the overwhelming majority believed that they couldn't afford to do it. They couldn't afford to do it. So it's just saying what you're saying, but from a different angle. They think that the only way to do it is to do it all. That there's no such thing as right sizing, which is something that I actually can't stand hearing that sentiment out there. It drives me crazy.
And, well, there's a miscommunication factor. And I think that there's a miscommunication because there are cyber leaders that are out there that truly in their core believe this to be true. And there are other cyber leaders, not to cast aspersions, but there's other cyber leaders that utilize this as their springboard for additional revenue. And the fact is that right now, what's being sold to business leaders right now is that technology has to be secure first, right? Your network has to be secure. Security starts at the network, right? Security starts at the asset level. Security starts at the application level. And we both know that there are multiple ways to get around every single one of those safeguards that are implemented. And I think that cost that we're talking about comes from the implementation of new hardware, new software, these brand new solutions that are out there that are sold as the golden ticket, right? The golden box that will secure all your woes.
The golden ticket.
Right. That's where that cost comes
from.
And
that is frankly the problem because, part of our business model, again, I hate to plug our business model, but part of our business model is we don't sell a product. But if you're one of these companies that's your whole business is selling products, then that's your myopic focus. That's all you see. So, it goes back to grandma's computer. No one wants to spend $100 million to protect, grandma's computer, because grandma's computer didn't have anything that valuable on it. And business leaders will always calculate what they can afford to lose. They will always make that calculation. Even manufacturers will put a product out there thinking, probably X percent of these are going to fail. But instead of doing a root cause analysis on this design right now, let's wait for someone out there to find what's wrong with the system, and they'll send it back to us, and we'll give them all rebates. But when we run the numbers, we realize that all of the recall costs, all of the bringing it back and fixing it for free, all of that is less than the cost of doing the advanced activities. So they say, we'll take the risk. We'll deal with it if it comes back, because who knows? Maybe it doesn't come back at all. Maybe it's fine. Maybe skipping that last round of QC, is saving us money and not costing us a dime. They will always make that calculation, and they make that calculation with cybersecurity ad nauseum because they're not afraid enough. They think they can handle it.